friends, welcome to a new language lesson. As you know that April is the National Poetry Month, so today we are going to have a lesson and learn some new vocabulary about poetry. We may be familiar with some of the vocabulary and most of the words might be new for us. So before we start our lesson, let's review what poetry actually is. Poetry is a form of writing that is usually in verses. It is written in short lines, and those lines are mostly ending with words that are in rhyme or rhythm. And please notice I used the word usually, not always. So let's start our lesson. And there's one more thing. The poets usually want to convey their strong feelings to the reader who is reading their poetry. So they want to express their strong feelings and strong messages. So that is what poetry is mostly about. So let's move on to our lesson and see which words we are already familiar with and what are the new words and what do they mean. Okay, friends. So the first word I have here is line. Line, we all know that is a sequence of words that are in a sentence. And the exact definition is the sequence of words printed as a separate entity on the page, moving down a space on the page starts a new one. Poet use them to organize the words in a poem. So mostly when poets are using lines like in their poetry, they're short sentences. Epic. I do know some of my friends are familiar with the word epic, but this is not the epic you guys are thinking. I know you guys use it when a friend does something really cool and you scream, "Oh, that is epic." No, friends, this epic is the poetry epic. This means that poems written in the prehistoric time or in the olden times that narrated the actions and the travels and like the story of prehistoric times. So these in the epic kind of poetry, the verses are longer. And the definition we have is an extended narrative poem recounting actions, travels, adventures, and heroic episodes. The important characteristics give long formal speeches. So, okay. Then the next word I have here is rhyme. All of us are very familiar with rhyming words. We have been working on them since first grade, right, friends? And some of the examples I would like to review with you is thin and trim, boy and toy, treat and feet. Like any words that are ending with similar syllables, they sound the same. So in a rhyme in poetry would be that mostly the last words in the lines, they are rhyming with each other, mostly, not always. And as we learn new vocabulary and proceed in our lessons, we will realize what different kinds of poetries are there. Okay, so the similarity between syllable sounds at the end of two or more lines. That's what rhyme is. Then I have blank verse. So blank verse, the two words themselves give it out that this kind of poetry is like, it does not follow a certain pattern like rhyming or anything like verse or anything. Like it is like the poet is very open. So they are not restricting themselves to a certain kind of poetry. So that is what blank verse is. This type of poetry is written in unrhymed iambic pentameter. Shakespeare wrote most of his plays in this kind of format. Okay, then I have verse. So a verse is, I will just talk to you about the next word. A verse is can be of a single line as well. And let me show you the next one before I talk about this definition. Usually people confuse between verse and stanza. Let me read the definition for the verse first, and then I will compare the two. Verse refers to either a single line of poetry or to metrical poetry in general. It is different from a stanza. So let's talk about a stanza. Stanza are used in poetry, whereas paragraphs are used in story writing or any essay writing or anything in books. Mostly that the books you read, we see a lot of paragraphs. So anything that you are reading, a chapter book, go and refer and see a paragraph and then open a poem, and then you will see the difference between a stanza and paragraphs. And one thing common about stanzas is that the lines are shorter, and when the line is finished, like with a period or without a period, and then the next line, even if you have space in the same line, you start with a new the next sentence starts with a new line. So that's what the difference is in a stanza. One of the divisions of the poem composed of two or more lines, usually characterized by a common pattern of meter, rhyme, and number of lines. So that's the difference between the verse and the stanza. Did you notice that verse can even be of a single line, and whereas stanzas are always two or more. Okay, the next word I have is acrostic poem, and I am so excited that all my friends already know about this kind of poem. In this kind of poems, either the first letters of the sentence vertically or the last letters of the line, they form a phrase or something. Like you must have seen in your, I think, first work plan of e-learning or the binders when we dropped at your place, you had a spring acrostic poem in your work plan, and I am sure most of you have done. Some of you even shared beautiful pictures of your work. Thank you so much. So a poem in which the first or last letters or each line vertically form a word, phrase, or sentence. It's easy to write one of these using your own name. I like that idea. Maybe at the end of this lesson I give you one of those extension works to do. Okay, then I have hyperbole. Okay, so this is something that we have been practicing without knowing. Let me give you an example. When we are working in our classroom and my friends are working with something on a long work or something that has been challenging, and they've been working very hard and beautifully, and they come and say, Mrs. Nyazi, Miss Fernandez, can I please have snack? I am so hungry, I can even eat a horse. Now, do you actually believe that somebody can eat a horse? So those kinds of exaggerated sentences are called hyperbole. An extravagant exaggeration, overstated to produce a dramatic effect. Okay, so that's a new word for us. And then this is a very interesting one, onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is certain sounds that refer to a similar noise. For example, splash. When something drops in our creek, we hear a certain splash, or something falls on the floor and we hear a bang or a thud or any kind of those kinds of sound. Like usually with the big bang, either we refer it to the drum, or bang like the door or something like that. So a word which imitates the sound it represents. Some examples would be splash sound, similar to the noise of something falling into the water. Thud sounds like a falling object hitting the ground. Okay, so these were some new words and some words that we are already familiar with. Before I finish off this video and lesson, I would like to read one of the poems I like. By the way, these three poets are very famous. I would like you, if you guys have time, and I'm sure you would, you may choose one of them and research about them and see what kind of poetry they've been writing. And then if you are a first year friend and you are listening to this video and watching this video actually, you are welcome to see this video again whenever you have time to get familiar with the vocabulary. You don't have to do anything, and then in your work plan you have the noun poem. Please try to memorize it and ask your parents to make a video of you and share it with your teachers. We would love that. Then second and third years, coming to the acrostic poem, one assignment would be, how about you do one acrostic poem using your name. Okay, if you don't want to use your name, letters from your name, you may use letters from your birth month. That would be a good one. And then let's come back to blank verse. Remember, there was no restriction. This type of poetry is written in unrhymed iambic pentameter. So no restriction, no rhyming, nothing at all. And I give you a topic, who am I? Write about yourself, but in a poetry way, in a poetic way, okay? And then I would like to read to you one of the poems from by Maya Angelou. Hey friends, so I am reading to you a poem by Maya Angelou, Life Doesn't Frighten Me. Let me give you a little background before I start reading the poem. It's that some of the things that frighten us, like most of the things that frighten us, all of us, even me as an adult or you guys as friends, those are imaginary things. Like most of us are afraid of dark, right? And we always say we are afraid of ghosts and monsters, but none of us have seen ghosts and monsters, right? They're imaginary. So, and then we could be afraid of strangers because we cannot judge whether they are good people or they're somebody who may harm us. So we have to be careful, right? So we are a little scared of strangers sometimes. So let's see what this young girl is talking to us about through her poetry, okay? Shadows on the wall, noises down the hall. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Bad dogs barking loud, big ghosts in a cloud. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Mean old mother goose, lions on the loose. They don't frighten me at all. Dragons breathing flame on my counterpane. That doesn't frighten me at all. I go boo, make them shoo. I make fun, way they run. I won't cry, so they fly. I just smile, they go wild. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Tough guys in a fight, all alone at night. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Panthers in the park, strangers in the dark. No, they don't frighten me at all. That new classroom where boys all pull my hair, little girls with their hair in curls, they don't frighten me at all. Don't show me frogs and snakes and listen for my scream. If I'm afraid at all, it's only in my dreams. I've got a magic charm that I keep up my sleeve. I can walk the ocean floor and never have to breathe. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Not at all, not at all. Life doesn't frighten me at all. Thank you for watching, friends. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. See you next time. Bye.